welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Here on my channel, I do planner and planner related videos, DIY tutorials, budget videos, and the occasional new release video of items that I've listed to my Etsy shop. And if that is of interest to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you hit that little notification bell, you'll always be notified of when I load a new video. Commenting, liking, and sharing this video on your favorite platform does help my channel grow and would be truly appreciated. Alright guys, so I'd actually filmed this once before, and when I was editing, I realized there was a lot more background noise that I couldn't cover, so this is take number 2. Hopefully this one goes through. Now my idea for this and for the next 11 days is to do the 12 days of Christmas, and all of this will be some sort of quick and easy craft. At least I'm hoping it'll be a quick and easy craft series. This first one, we're going to be doing a notepad / coloring book, depending on how you choose to make it, stocking stuffer. So let's just get right into it. Now, I will link the video below, but previously I made this little mini commonplace journal, and I had a bunch of offcuts from that, and I'll show you what I mean by that. And I'll link this video below. So in order to make my little journal, I took just a regular piece of copy paper and cut that in half the long way, and then made it a perfect square so that it measures 5.5 by 5.5. And that gives me that little offcut that we'll be working on today. However, if you are just going to be making these, well, that's not a good example. Let's see how many of these you can get. I'm thinking only 2. So if we cut it at 3 inches, and at 3 inches, that leaves this at 2.5, yeah, because the paper is 8.5 by 11, and so this would make up the 8.5 part. So if you were just going to make this particular craft project, then you can get 4 of these pieces of paper for every copy paper that you have. So let's just use those. And I'll need this, but I'll put this away for right now. And once you have a sizable chunk, now I had shown this in, I believe, one of the first craft videos that I had for this year, where I had made a little coloring book, and that one only had, I think, between 5 and 7 pages. So it doesn't actually matter how thick it is. You just do want it to be the same size. Now you can cut copy paper, colored paper, dot grid paper, coloring pages, I mean, whatever you want, because this method will work regardless of what the paper is. It's really just showing you the method. So I'm just going to do a chunk here. You will need some binder clips or something to hold it in place. And what the most important thing is that it is level on the bottom and that it is level on the sides. And you'll put your binder clips not all the way to the top, but as close as you can. And I'm actually going to put this so that it pinches at the edge, and open this up. And then I will do the same here. Again, I don't want to go too close to the top. And then I'll open this up, and that's pretty sturdy. And what we're going to be making is a little tear pad notebook, or tear pad notepad, I guess you could say. Now, if you can get these at like your Dollar Tree or Aldi's or your version of the dollar store, wherever it is that you live, then this may just be more advantageous, and just do that, because you might be able to get a few of these little notebook things for very little money, and you don't have to put in all this extra time and effort. I don't have those stores here, and I had all of this excess anyway because I did make those journals. So for me, this just makes sense to use up my scraps. You don't necessarily want to get glue on your clip. But what you do want to do is I would recommend a white glue. I'm pretty sure this would work, but this is cheaper than this. So I just use white glue. And in the past when I've made these, I used a white glue. Elmer's glue would work just as fine. And you do want to run a fairly thick bead at the top. You want to make sure that you are catching all of the pages. And you kind of want to press it in. I'm sure you could use a foam brush for this part, but I'm just going to use my finger. And I can see, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's slightly staggered, and so I want to make sure that I'm getting all of that in there. Now it doesn't matter if this first coat is perfect, because you do need to do at least 3 of this. So you would let this dry, and that takes, depending on how fast your glue dries, could take between 15 minutes to an hour. And then you would do it again, let that dry, and then do it again. And then maybe just occasionally pinch it together. Okay. And that essentially is how you make a tear pad. I do this at work all the time because we have lots of scrap paper, or we printed something that isn't confidential on one side, but the back side is still usable. I make these just for scratch paper or note paper, just so that we're not wasting our paper. Alrighty, now what I would recommend is if you are doing this in bulk and you're making it from scratch, what you can do is kind of stagger them so that they're not touching anything, but they still have time to dry. When I made the ones for a craft project a few years ago, I had tons just stacked on each other so that nothing was touching the top here, but I could assembly line the product. So this one is the dry one. Yeah, that's the wet one, so I'm going to put that one to the side. And so just for brevity's sake, and again, I need to look that up if brevity actually means quick, but just so that we wouldn't literally have to wait for the glue to dry. I've made one of these previously, and so essentially what we've done is we've made a notebook where the paper doesn't fall out and you can easily tear it, but it still maintains the integrity of the glue at the top. So again, whatever kind of paper you use is completely optional and up to you. You could even make it a flip pad like this if you glue the top there. Again, that is entirely up to you, but this is how I'm going to be doing this one. And then in order to make this more than just a little white scrap note paper, we are going to decorate this just a smidge. Now I do want to give the back some stability. Now if you have a cereal box or some other lightweight cardboard box, then you certainly can use that. This measures 3 by 5.5. So I want whatever backing I'm using to be at exactly 3 by 5.5. Now I just happen to have this next to me. It doesn't really matter because I'm actually going to use the pink as the backing. I'm going to cut this down. I'm actually going to cut this in half so it makes it easier to work with. Now that I have a straight edge, I'm going to cut at 5.5 and 3. And I actually do plan on making some of these for work. So again, even this, I could assembly line and cut all of my pieces out of here. But for this purpose, we're just going to use just that one piece. And then I will need a front page. And so I'm going to take a 6x6 paper pad that I have. It doesn't matter if it's double-sided or not. It truly does not. And so let's pick something. Actually, I kind of like this one. And the 6x6 notepads, at least the ones that I have, I guess because they hang these up in the store, they usually have this, and the 6 actually is less than that, but you need to keep that little branding sheet And I'll show you why in a minute. Again, you could make this for Christmas, you could make this for a favor for birthday. I mean, whatever you make it for is completely up to you. I'm just showing you the process on how to make it. Now, even though I know that this is 3 across, I actually want to cut my paper just a smidge more than that, just in case I didn't line it up properly and I wanted to fully cover. So we're just going to do 3 1/16. And again, we're going to leave that little strip at the top. I'm not sure if I'm in frame or not. And now it's just about assembling. So there really isn't a front or a back side, although because I did tear that off, you can see it. So we're going to make that our back side. Now I could have this facing front, but these two don't match. So I'm actually going to have this facing back, and then that's not that bad. And I'm going to glue this down. And this is not going to be something... Well, basically, when you get to the last page of your little notepad, that's it. You're done with it. It isn't something that's refillable. You could use wet glue for this process as well. I just really want to give the notepad a little bit more stability, and this way it's faster. And so line that up at the top and glue that down. No, I did miss it a little, but that's okay. And we're only sacrificing just that one sheet. And so again, it holds together. And so that makes a nice finished back, because again, that is the back. And then for this one, if you have it, then I will give you what to score at. But if you don't have a scoreboard, what you would do is you'd line it up, and I would stand it up, and then you'd fold it over, and then fold it over, and then just sort of make a crease there. Okay, but if you do have a scoreboard, then you're going to score it right at 5 1/2, because that's how tall the paper is, and then at 5 3/4. Assuming that your paper pad is that thick. If it's thicker or thinner, then you'll want to measure it accordingly. And if you notice, I didn't count that. It's just, that looked like a good thickness to me. I couldn't even tell you how many sheets this is. Okay, and then, oh, we want to put that like that. We're going to only put, and I'm marking this so that you can see it. That is the first score line. That is the second score line. So all of the adhesive that we're going to do is going to be on that top portion here above the second score line. We don't want to do anything here because we don't want anything to interfere with this here. Now for this one, I'll actually do a combination of glue and double-sided tape. The adhesive will give us an instant bond. This will give us a stronger bond. Now this one, what I want to do is I want to line it up on the front first, because I basically have a one shot at this, and that looks pretty good. I don't see any white on the side, and then I'm just going to pinch that, and now I can work that in. And you can see if we had cut that branding strip off, it would have made this too short, and we couldn't have a piece long enough for our notepad. I'm just going to use this to really work that in, and then that as well. And because we didn't glue this to the top here, it truly folds out. And don't mark it, I was showing you guys, but it truly folds out into a usable notepad. Depending on what you're making this for or how fancy you want to do it, you could get a stamp and stamp every other page or every page if you wanted to. I mean, you can make this as super fancy as you want to. And then, let's see, this is a little mini sticker pad that my friend Val had sent me. So, and I will be giving this away. So this one actually looks cute. And so I'll put this down. No, I like it right up there. I'll put that right there. And then the way that I plan to gift this is I have got some clear bags. I picked this up at a local craft store. And so these go 3 by 9 by 5.9. Yeah, and they're just tall enough. And how I'm probably going to package this up, which is very similar to this, is I'm going to put this in there because I just think it looks a little bit more professional. And then I will put a pen. I have a bunch of paper mates, but I could really put any pen. And if I wanted to, I could also put some of these stickers that I picked up from Amazon. If the plastic were bigger, you might be able to fit one of these. It's not gusseted, so the thickness is, I don't think we could get, yeah, I think you could get maybe some sheets of this if you got this at a good price at your local craft store. But I don't want to break the wrapper. But essentially, that's how I would make a little gift. And if you wanted to zhuzh it up even a little more, that's my pen, so I'm going to take this apart, but just to show you guys. If you have some twine, or like me, if you have just tons and tons of yarn, you could just do some really loose wrapping. And you can coordinate it all if you wanted to. Because as a stocking stuffer, and I've mentioned this in some of my other craft videos, you may not necessarily want to make the item Christmassy, because then they can't really use it. Something like this can be used at any time, but it still can be a stocking stuffer because it fits in a stocking. And then you'd have a sweet little bow that you can do. You could hang a little tag from here and make this really quick, really simple craft. And you know, if you make some of these, if you make some of these, then you can give it to multiple people. I'm probably gonna make a bunch of these and a bunch of these for the office ladies, because there's quite a few office people that I know at work. And I think this makes a cute little handmade gift that I think looks adorable and is functional, so you get the best of both worlds. This is number 1 of my 12 days of Christmas. Now, whether I load them consecutively every day or whether they're mixed up, I'm not really sure, but because those 12 videos are in addition to my regular lineup. Let me know what you think of this little craft here. Thank you so much for following me on this journey, and as always, aloha.